righty, 3 minutes, everybody. 3 minutes till showtime. Councilman Porter, do you see your test vote up for the 1214?
I do not.
Okay, I'll try this again.
I can log out and back in again.
Let's try this. Okay. How about now?
No. This is 12/14/2020 at 1 a.m., right?
Yes, sir.
I can log out and back in again.
Okay, yes, you'll try that for me, please.
All right.
It's Chief Dr. Brinkley to you.
Dr. Chief.
Jennifer, does your mom have a doctorate? Because she's
Just let me know when you're ready, Councilman.
You ready, Thomas? Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, December the 15th.
Ready?
We're not ready. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Still didn't come up yet?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go ahead and switch to the 12:15 meeting, and we'll give it a shot, and if we need to do a roll call vote, we will.
All right. Let me. Went to research, and I got to get that. Back.
If I'm doing okay, Councilman?
I got back to the 15th,
Okay. All right.
and I tried one more time on the 14th, nothing.
Oh, I had already closed the 14th meeting, so we'll try it live, and if need be, we'll do hand votes.
Wrong meeting, city council. There it is. Okay, thank you, Thomas.
Yes, sir. Okay, Mr. Mayor, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, December the 15th. I want to share tonight, we've got an unfortunate incident. We're mourning the passing of a former City Council member, Karen Dean, on December the 15th of 2020. For those of you that didn't know Karen, Karen was involved in the City of Sugar Land and the Water District Board long before she was even annexed. She served 2 years on the Planning and Zoning Board and 2 terms as a council member. She was actively involved as the president of the Senior Resource Guide for Aging Adults. She volunteered a lot of her time in our community. She was involved with the $3.5 million funding of the University of Houston Sugar Land campus, and many accomplishments with Oyster Creek Park, with the amphitheater and hiking trails. And I'd ask that you keep her family in your thoughts and prayers. And we were blessed to have her on City Council. We were blessed to have her in the Sugar Land community. With that, we're going to move on to the invocation. Our Mayor Pro Tem, Carol McCutcheon. Carol, will you lead us in the invocation?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I pray for those who lead our nation, our state, and our city. Thank you for their dedication and commitment. Thank you for our brave soldiers who protect our national interests around the world. Father, we ask for protection of our city and its citizens, and especially of our first responders who are often put in harm's way as they faithfully serve our citizens. Thank you for our city staff as they work on behalf of our citizens. As we meet now, please guide our thoughts and words. Give us wisdom, discernment, courage, and compassion. Help us lead in a way that glorifies you and honors our citizens. And Father, thank you for the incredible service that Karen Dean provided to our community, and I pray that you are with her family and friends during this time. I also pray that everyone will have a safe holiday filled with love, peace, and joy. It is with humility and gratitude that we make these requests. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now I would like to invite everyone to join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Carol. And before we move into our recognitions, on behalf of all the council members and our staff, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a safe holiday. This will be our last meeting of this year, 2020. We're going to put 2020 and COVID-19 in the rearview mirror. We're rocketing into 2021. Our recognition tonight, we had 2 items listed. Unfortunately, Pete Olson was called back to Washington. He was called back to Washington to vote on the fiscal year 21 omnibus appropriations bill, which includes a possible COVID recovery package. So we wish him Godspeed. We hope for a favorable vote, and we look forward to getting Pete back to Sugar Land for Christmas. That brings us up to the second item on our agenda, the Digital Cities Award First Place Ranking. Digital City with a population of 75,000 to 124,999, those engineers, Government Engagement, Inclusion, and Transparency. I'm going to come down to introduce it. So for the 7th consecutive year, the city of Sugar Land was named among the top 10 digital cities across the country. This year, however, we received the first place ranking among cities having a population of 75,000 to 125,000. Honored for government engagement, inclusion, and transparency across the nation. I'm going to now ask our Assistant City Manager, Chris Stubing, to introduce Brian Butcher, who will introduce our new, what do we call this young man? The IT Director of IT, Data and Security. Chris.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We are privileged to receive the first place award, and we skipped third and second. We just jumped straight to first. We didn't want to bother with that. So I want to take a little bit of time this evening to reintroduce both Brian Butcher and stuff, as well as Steve Budney. Brian, of course, as you know, has been a long time Assistant Director of Public Works and stepped into the shoes after Herman's retirement earlier this year to kind of fill an interim role that we'd identified in IT to kind of keep things moving, ERP implementation, a lot of big projects that were going on there, and did a tremendous job. Brian also took the lead in kind of working with his group, Imelda Milan and the team, in putting together the Digital Cities award kind of packet to get everything submitted, and worked across the ranks and stuff with many departments in putting that together. So we have Brian's passion for public works have developed a Deputy Director of Public Works position for him, and he has taken that role as of a month and a half or 2 months ago and stuff, with Steve joining the team. So wanted to recognize that. Brian, he'll take the lead in this recognition, but also wanted to introduce the council to Mr. Steve Budney. Steve joins us after a long, extensive career with the oil and gas firm Bush & Erie. So we are privileged to have Steve join our Sugar Land team. He has brought a wealth of IT experience to the table for us, and we are privileged to have him join our group with over 20 plus years in the IT realm. He comes well-traveled with degrees from University of Illinois and masters from University of Florida and a master's from University of Houston as well. So plenty of experience and privileged to have him on the team as well. At this point, I'll turn it over to Brian to talk about the award.
Sure. So good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you all so much for hearing me this evening. I'm really excited and really grateful to have the opportunity to talk about this award on behalf of Imelda and Rob Bowman and Kellen and the whole IT team who worked to pull this application together. Just to give you an idea, in the state of Texas, only three cities finished in the top 10. You know, Richardson was number 10, Allen was number 8, and we finished first. And we finished 5th before, 4th a couple of times, but never first. And it's a really big honor for us, and it's a really big deal. And the way in which we got from 4th to first, I think, is also an interesting way to, interesting point. That every year they focus on a number of specific things. You know, there's always the traditional IT things like IT governance and cybersecurity and data, but they also have additional items because this is a digital city survey, not a digital IT survey. So things like citizen engagement and transparency and using the digital world to right-size your investment, make sure you're sustainable. Making sure you're using innovation to build and align your business processes properly. And so one of the things that kind of sets us apart is we have things, while we have a phenomenal IT group, we have things outside of IT that also help us in this arena. So things like our license plate recognition software, our traffic management system, our SCADA system that monitors our water quality, things outside of IT that are also very much forward thinking. Our budget group and the rate modeling and the ways in which we use technology to build our budget, engineering CIP, map book, the asset management work engineering's doing for the investment strategies, and probably most importantly, our communication department and the way in which our communication department engages with our community and uses diverse platforms for doing that engagement. All of those are the reasons that we moved from fourth to first. I'm flattered, and the IT department is very grateful for this award. But this truly is a Digital Cities Award, and it encompasses all throughout the entire organization. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for your support, and we're excited. Hopefully we'll make another run at it next year.
Brian, I thought it was because you were the interim director of IT. Well, that was the real reason, wasn't it? It was that leadership.
I don't believe that was on the application, but maybe.
Hey, Brian, thank you for stepping in the gap for that period of time. You did a great job. Steve, welcome aboard. We'll look forward to meeting you when you come to council.
Thank you very much. If I can just add, I've been incredibly impressed with the level of sophistication I've seen in Sugar Land's use of technology. It's been a real eye-opener. I've been in Sugar Land for 23 years, and I had no idea what it took to really run a city as smoothly as this city operates. So I'm excited to be here. I look forward to many years serving the city and its residents. Thanks for those kind words as well, Chris, and great job, Brian.
Welcome aboard, Steve. Let me show you the award. We're going to truly give it the white glove treatment here. Council, let's, there we go. Thanks to somebody who had the foresight to give me these white gloves. All right, let's get down to business. First item on the agenda is public comment. Thomas, do we have anybody that'd like to comment?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor, we don't have anyone signed up.
We're going to move on into the consent agenda. Consent agenda is, the items on the consent agenda will be taken as one motion unless a council member pulls an item. If they do, we'll receive a brief presentation on that item, followed by the vote. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Lane, second by Kermali. You'll vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 4, contracts and agreements. 4A, consideration of an action on authorization of a construction contract with Reliance Construction, LP, in the amount of $1,823,054.35 for the water mains rehabilitation within Sugar Creek subdivision and shopping center for the distribution system water main rehabilitation project, CIP CWA 1801. Andrea Broughton, our Assistant City Engineer. Andrea.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for this time to be here for this construction project. Just to give you a little background on the project, this is part of our annual rehab program. Typically designed in 1 year, then move to construction the following year. These projects are recommended through the City Asset Management Group. If you recall, this is our risk-based modeling tool that prioritizes locations and sections throughout the city so we can keep the water flowing to all of our residents. This design was actually completed in September 2020, and it's approximately 20,000 linear feet of 4, 6, 8, and 12-inch water main in the Sugar Creek subdivision area. Next slide. As you can see, again, a map of the location of the area, highlighted in the black sections is the area where the improvements will be made. Next slide. Again, the project scope includes the replacement of approximately 20,000 linear feet of water main within the Sugar Creek subdivision area. This will also include some minor pavement repairs as needed to get the project done, as long as sidewalk and driveway repairs as well. The bid package included a base bid for approximately 20,000 linear feet of water main and an add option of approximately 1,200 linear feet of 8-inch water main behind the Sugar Creek Shopping Center. Next slide. Regarding the bid was advertised on October 7th and October 14th of this year. The bids were due on November 12th, and we received 5 bids on this day. 2 bids were deemed non-responsive, so we ended up with 3 bids that were evaluated, with Reliance Construction being the lowest responsible bidder, for a total bid price of $1,823,054.35, which includes the base bid and the add alternate. Next slide. Regarding the contractor, Reliance Construction Service LP is located in Houston, and they have actually successfully completed projects for Sugar Land in the recent past, specifically a water main rehab project in the spring of 2017, and a force main replacement at lift stations numbers 13, 23, and 25 in the fall of 2016. Next slide. The project funding for this project, we have the available funds of approximately $2.1 million. The cost for the project, construction contract would be approximately $1.8 million, with contingency of 5% of $91,000 and construction administration of $20,000, which relieves us remaining fund balance of approximately $194,070.93. Next slide. The project schedule for this, if approved this evening by the council, the notice to proceed would be issued by the city in January 2021, next month, with substantial completion taking approximately 260 calendar days, which will put us at an anticipated completion in October 2021. Next slide. Regarding project impact and notification, we will be following policy number CO-110. Some of the minor impacts will be temporary water service interruption, which will be anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. Temporary driveway access restrictions, possibly some replacements will need to be done. This will all be coordinated through a notification plan. Regarding the water service interruption, we will provide a 48-hour notification for the residents. And also for the driveway interruptions, to make sure that we coordinate that there's not any major issues that will disrupt their process throughout the day. We will do this through the use of door hangers and one-on-one communication as needed, along with mail-outs if needed. Next slide. At this time, we request the approval to authorize the execution of the construction contract with Reliance Construction Service LP for the water main rehab project CIP CWA 1801 in the amount of $1,823,054.35. Next slide. At this time, do you guys have any questions regarding the project?
Thank you, Andrea. Questions? Stuart?
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Broughton, I have a question, and forgive me for not knowing this, the answer to this question. So there's $20,000 for construction administration. Is that a third party, or is that a third party, or do we do that in-house? Is that allocated to our personnel?
No, that construction administration contract is a third party that comes in and provides administration throughout the project, which is review of payouts, submittals, any change order process, things of that nature.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Steve Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we go back to the notification slide for just a moment, please? Okay, so, my question is, if we're going to block somebody's driveway access, it looks like we're gonna hang a door hanger on their front door, but we don't have any idea about how long their driveway will be blocked. Can you talk about that, please?
Sure, yeah, so, specifically for driveway access restrictions, we typically, and we try to strive to do a one-on-one communication for those type of, inconvenience or project impacts to residents, because, that's critical, because we will not block somebody's driveway without coordination directly with, the resident of that property. Like I said, we don't know what the details of those the residents' activities, if they have, medical issues where they need to be able to get out for different appointments, things of that nature. So we have never, we strive to not block somebody's driveway without direct one-on-one communication with that resident.
Excellent, that was exactly where I was going. Thank you very much.
Okay, sure.
Andrea, I've only got one question. That is, are we going to coordinate with the Sugar Creek Homeowners Association over there?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
We have actually already reached out to them about that, and we have lined up communication with them for notification as well.
Okay, yeah, they can help. Stuart?
Yes.
Mayor, as a District 3 project, I would like to make a motion to approve.
I've got a motion by Jacobson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Ferguson. You vote at this time, please. Passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 4B, consideration of an action on authorization of a development agreement by and between the City of Sugar Land and the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston for the use and benefit of St. Thomas Aquinas Parish. Ms. Lauren Fair, our principal planner. Lauren, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, thank you, sir. I'm here this evening to bring forward the development agreement between the city and the St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church Parish. Do a little bit of background real quick, and then we'll dive into some details. So last year, the city was approached by a property owner, by the church, for an existing site in the city's ETJ. The request was regarding some future improvements they'd like to do to their existing site located, as mentioned, in the city's ETJ. So building on a little bit of what we learned in our approach that we took at the end of last year, actually, with the development agreement with the Merriam Center, we kind of analyzed the request, and really, again, recognize the benefits in being able to partner with our property owners in the ETJ who want to expand, who want to improve their property when there's, requests for improvement expansions, requests for utility extensions, and, and also the need to work to protect city interests and to look out for the best interest of the city as well. So we went forward, city staff, and drafted some development agreement terms, worked very closely for several months with St. Thomas Aquinas and their representatives and their team to really refine those, modify them where needed, and finalize the development agreement that council will have before them this evening. Next slide, please. So in going through drafting the terms and taking a look at how we would approach this request, we took a look at some of our existing code of ordinance language and policies to really guide how we respond to these. So two sections out of the code of ordinances which address approval process for service extensions to the city ETJ area, which looks at our capacity to serve, the willingness and the ability to install any required lines or upsize any lines for future service, as well as code of ordinances in terms of addressing rates for out of service properties. So customers that are located outside of the city limits are charged double the rate for service applying to customers that are inside the city. Also took a look at the development code, specifically the subdivision regulations, which essentially codified our ability to enter into development agreements with property owners in the ETJ and authorize the ability to enforce specific land use and development regulations. And then took a look at our council's non-MUD annexation policy resolution, which addresses essentially full-purpose annexation terms for areas that are located in the city's ETJ, but were not in a municipal utility district. Next slide, please. So the specific development agreement request this evening, as I mentioned, St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church. They are located in the city's ETJ, shown here in the yellow rectangle along West Belfort Road, west of Derry Ashford Road. It's an approximately 20-acre site, was not part of any municipal utility district in MUD. The request is for some planned future expansion. You can see they have their existing church fronting on Belfort, an auxiliary building behind, and then some vacant property directly to the west for their planned future expansion. They are currently served with public city water, and they have an on-site private wastewater lift station. Next slide, please. So I'll go into a little bit of the church responsibilities as well as the city's responsibilities as outlined in the development agreement. So the church will be responsible for dedicating a water line easement for that existing public water line. They will also eliminate the use of any existing on-site water wells, including those for irrigation. As I mentioned in the Code of Ordinances, they will pay the out-of-city service rate that's specified, as well as any new construction will follow specific land use and zoning regs, comply with city codes, as well as obtain building permits and city inspections. Next slide, please. So another element of the development agreement is involves the wastewater component. And when the time is deemed necessary and the city is able to construct a regional lift station, the church will dedicate a site and any necessary easements for that lift station. We would obviously work with them through getting those easements. They would also pay their pro rata share of the regional lift station, and then ultimately, when the lift station was complete, they would then connect on to the city's system when it was available and discontinue their on-site wastewater lift station. A lot of that, as I mentioned, was borrowed from our kind of approach to the Merriam Center as well, with that kind of regional approach to wastewater. And then annexation terms are also part of the development agreement in that they would be submitting a petition and some timeframes associated with that as well. Next slide, please. So city, some of our obligations in the agreement include allowing the continued use of their existing public water line, as well as their existing on-site private wastewater lift station, allowing the continued use at this time. We would take on the design and construction costs of that future regional lift station, and then we would move forward with processing their annexation petition, according to all the state statutes and in alignment with the timeline that's outlined in the agreement. Next slide, please. So part of our review, we took this request and the draft agreement points forward to the council IG subcommittee twice, and they were generally supportive of the request and the draft agreement terms and points that we outlined with them. As I mentioned, we held several meetings and several discussions with between city staff as well as with the St. Thomas Aquinas Church and their representatives to really finalize the terms that you all now have in the development agreement this evening. And the city is also currently working with the church and with their consultant team on teeing up some of their plans for regarding their future improvements. So they'll need to work through some subdivision platting, some civil plans, building permits, and we're working with that with them at this time as well. Next slide, please. So just to sum up again, the church located outside city limits in the ETJ would like to make improvements to their existing site, and in looking out, recognizing some of the benefits of partnering with ETJ properties through development agreements, we were able to address several items as well, and extend some protections to areas of the city where we're limited. We don't have that much control, especially areas such as this that are adjacent to some in-city residential areas as well. And extending some land use control and other abilities to ETJ properties where, again, we're very limited here, not only on some land use controls, but as well as our annexation abilities as well based on some recent state law changes. So with that, staff would recommend that City Council approve the authorization and execution of the development agreement for the St. Thomas Aquinas ETJ property. And I'm available for any questions as well. We also have Mr. Reed Wilson, who is representing the St. Thomas Aquinas Church, who's also here this evening if there's any questions for us.
Thank you, Lauren. Welcome, Reed. Questions? Anyone? No questions. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Lauren, so when they submit something for annexation, will there be more consideration on the part of staff and council around the deal points on that? Or is that part of what we're negotiating now?
The annexation terms are simply what's in the development agreement is the timeline for when they would submit their petition. We would put together a service plan outlining city services and when those would be available and when we would ultimately annex them, and that would come forward separately from this process.
So in this process, are we committing to accept their application? Specifically the annexation application when it comes? Or is that fully considerable at the time it comes in?
This process is considering, and I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit there, but this development agreement is simply outlining the timing of when they would need to submit their petition to us for annexation, and then how long we would have to act on that essentially and bring forward the service plan for annexing into the city. Did that answer your question?
I was looking for a yes or a no. Let me try again.
Okay.
Does anything that would be approved by approving this agenda item also require us to approve an annexation request?
I'm sorry, again, it broke up, so I blame Zoom for that. No, sir, there's no specific annexation terms in this agreement. This agreement would say that, yes, we are going to process their petition once they submit it, but no, there are no specific terms in this agreement as to the annexation.
One more question, Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead, Steve.
I assume that all this property would be exempt from property taxes. Is that correct?
As a church, yeah, because they own all of the 20 acres, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else? Jennifer?
Hi, Mr. Wilson. Just curious on the improvements you're looking to make on the property adjacent to the church. Could you expand upon that just a little? I think you're muted.
Mr. Wilson, if you'll unmute, or if you're still dialed in on your phone, do *6 on your phone.
How's that?
That's perfect.
Good.
You would think I'd figured out Zoom by now after all these many months. So my name is Reed Wilson, and I represent the Galveston-Houston Archdiocese, which is the record owner of this property for the use and benefit of the church. And what the church is planning to do is to expand its parking and to add a rectory. And then there's some adjacent land that will be used for future expansion. So all that's proposed today is the parking lot and the rectory and a little bit of landscaping and cleanup.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Lane, second by McCutcheon. You vote this time, please. Thank you, council members, and it's a 7-0 vote, and it passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reed. Item number 5, ordinances and resolutions, 5A, second consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2219, an ordinance of the City Council, the City of Sugar Land, Texas, adopting amendments to the city charter as approved at the November 3rd, 2020 election, and adopting a transition plan for implementing 3-year city council terms. We have with us our city attorney, Meredith Reedy. Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the second reading of ordinance 2219. We looked at it the first time on December 1st. I think there's a PowerPoint. There we go. Thank you. So here's the history as we went over at the last meeting. City Council appointed a Charter Commission in November of 2018. The Charter Commission met 6 times and had a public hearing and submitted their final report to City Council on April 2nd. We called the May election, had a pandemic, postponed the election. Then on November 17th, we canvassed the election returns. At your last meeting on December 1st, you passed 5-2 this ordinance, which adopted the language and the transition plan. Next slide. So as we discussed last time, the Charter Commission is appointed every 5 years pursuant to Section 105 of the city's charter. The 2018 Charter Commission members included David Gornett as chair, Tom DeMont, Jack Molko, Stuart Jacobson, and Carl Lamont. Next slide, please. So there were 9 propositions on the May 2020 charter election ballot, which actually occurred in November, and all 9 propositions passed. As a result, amendments are being made to Articles 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the charter. Next slide, please. So these are the amendments that are occurring to to Article 2. We're revising the language to reflect that there are now 3-year terms, that you have to show proof of residency with a driver's license, forfeitures based on conviction, resign to run, have added 30 days, so you now have a total of 60 days to fill vacancies, and revised 2.09 to recognize that sometimes state law does require a supermajority vote to pass items at council. We have non-substantive revisions 205, 209C, 211, and 212. Next slide, please. And then Article 3, we revised Section 304 to reflect a change in percentages for the different petitions, and then we had some housekeeping revisions to the sections listed below. Next slide. And we had a housekeeping item to Section 406 of Article 4. That was the only change. Next slide. Excuse me. Article 5 also had a non-substantive revision. Next slide. And then we discussed the transition plan. We had a workshop at your November 17th council meeting. And the direction we received at that meeting was to do a hybrid approach. Whereas, next slide, please. Whereas 2 positions would be extended by 1 year and no other positions would be extended. This is based on the presumption that the current incumbents, at large 2 and District 4, would be elected to all of the terms possible under the charter. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Council members, any questions? No question. Do I have any motion? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Got a motion by Kermally. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Jacobson. And if you'll vote this time, please. And again, it passes 5-2. Thank you, council members. Item number 6, closed executive session. 6A, closed executive session is authorized by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with Section 551087. Deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. And 6B, closed executive session is authorized by 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with Section 551074, public officers. At this time, we will adjourn into executive session.
Yes, short recess, Mayor, and then let me send you in.
Are we ready?
Give me 1 second, Mr. Mayor, I gotta get Mr. Porter out of the break room.
We see him.
Never mind, he's joined us. You're good to go, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we're going to go ahead and reconvene in regular session. Item number 7, appointments. 7A, consideration of an action on appointments to city council members to standing committees for a one-year term expiring May 2022, May 2021. Meredith, question for you. Meredith. Hello? Meredith? Meredith?
Are we muted?
1 second, Mayor, we cannot hear you.
No, give me 1 second, Mayor. Yeah, I think that.
Try it.
Unmute the video's volume button and the broadcast button on the Crestron, please.
Try now, Mayor.
Hello? Hello, Meredith, you in? Okay, Meredith, question for you. The item 7A reads for a one-year term of May 2021, and I didn't catch it. It should be May 2022. Can I make that change right now?
Yes, sir, you may.
Okay. And it will be for May 2022 because we're going to have elections next May 2021. If we need to make changes, we'll make changes. So For finance and audit, we have Zimmerman, Jacobson, and Ferguson. Intergovernmental relations, Zimmerman, McCutcheon, Jacobson. Compensation committee, Zimmerman, Lane, and Porter. And economic development, Zimmerman, McCutcheon, and Nashad Kermali. I'll make the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
I've got a second by Lane. If you'll vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number B, consideration of an action on appointment of one member and one alternate to the Houston-Galveston Area Council General Assembly, and appointment of one member and one alternate to the Houston-Galveston Area Council Transportation Policy Council for a one-year term. Actually, it's a two-year term expiring May 2022. And that will be for the HGAC General Assembly and Board of Directors. I will be the primary member. Jacobson will be the alternate. For the HGAC Transportation Policy Council, I will be the primary member. Lane will be the alternate. That's the motion on the table.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, McCutcheon? Second, Kermali. If we vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 7C, consideration of an action on 3 appointments to tax increment reinvestment zone number 1 board of directors, positions 3, 4, and 5 for terms ending December 31, 2022, and appointment of a chair for a term ending December 31, 2021. We have as follows: Don Smithers, position.
Mayor, is this the one you wanted to table?
That was,
That was position 5, I believe you wanted to
Yeah.
pull off.
right, but we can take the other 2 positions, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have Don Smithers, position 3 for chair, and Mike Goodrum for position 4. And then for position 5, we'll table. That's the motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Jacobson. You'll vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 7D, consideration of an action on 2 appointments to tax increment reinvestment zone number 3 board of directors, positions 2 and 4 for terms ending December 31st, 2022, and appointment of a chair for a term ending December 31st, 2021. For TERS 3, I'm going to nominate Stuart Jacobson as the chair. Nashad Kermali, position 2. Jennifer Lane, position 4. That's the motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Kermali. You vote this time, please. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. And item number 7E, consideration of an action on 2 appointments to the tax increment reinvestment zone number 4 board of directors, positions 1 and 3 for terms ending December 31st, 2022, and appointment of a chair for a term ending December 31st, 2021. For TERS 4, Greg Sturman as position 1, the chair with Cynthia Knox as position 3. That's the motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by McCutcheon. And that's a 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members. I think we've got everybody filled, and I've got some work to do. Moving on now to item number 8, City Council City Manager Reports. 7A, City Council Member Reports. William, let's start with you. You've been busy.
I'm always a little busy. Today was a very special, fun day. We delivered Christmas trees, artificial Christmas trees to Lunches of Love. They are an amazing organization out of Richmond. And Target locally here is the donor. And it was an amazing day. And then Saturday is our big Santa exchange here in the community. So it'll be a big week.
Perfect. Lane, let's jump to you.
I was with all of y'all at other events, so I have no report now.
Carol.
Okay, I attended the SDCSA annual HOA meeting with Councilmember Lane, and a number of the council members attended the Fort Bend Chamber's annual holiday celebration at Constellation Field.
Thank you, Carol. Steve.
No report, Mayor.
Jacobson. Stewart.
Mayor, with several of my colleagues, we attended the Hanukkah menorah lighting on Sunday evening, and I'll leave the food drive to Nishad.
There we go, on Nishad.
I, along with many of you, attended the food drive at the Smiley Chamath Convention Center, sponsored by ABC 13, and it was a fun morning.
It was a great morning.
25,000 pounds of food collected that day.
Wonderful.
Nothing else, Mayor.
Item number B, City Manager Report. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick, on behalf of staff, current and former, we wanted to send our thoughts and prayers to the Karen Dean family. I had the opportunity to work with Karen early in my career, and well respected by all and a big part of this community. So on behalf of staff, we're definitely thinking about Karen's family. Wanted to remind everyone that due to the holidays, city offices will be closed December the 22nd, and no, there will not be a city council meeting December 22nd. The next meeting will be January 5th, so everybody have a good new year. Offices will be closed December 24th and 25th and January 1st. And remind everyone, solid waste will slide to the next day, and everybody gets their extra bulky pickups following each one of those holidays. Also, just wanted to give a quick update on the drive-in movie nights. It's been a big success. We've had approximately 1,600 people that have been projected to be at the events. The weather has not been the best, and so for this next one, we're going to be moving it to Smart Financial Center parking lot, but go on our webpage and find out everything you need there. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Steve, I want to congratulate you in front of everybody. You came up with that idea, drive-in movie out there, at the Crown Festival site. It was a great idea, and it's been well attended. So thank you for that. Michael, to follow up on what you said, the thing that I remember Karen Dean was she just had a really big heart, and she could engage on anything about anything. And she was a passionate member of our community, and she will be sorely missed. Let me wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Remember, masks, social distancing, hand sanitizer. I know the hospitals have had a few more cases than what we'd like to see. It should not be red. The red wasn't based on facts. It was based on emotion. So everybody be safe over the holidays, and we're going to call it out to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mayor. Happy holidays.
Got a motion at 6:55. Here we go, Carol.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, and Carol, I want to say one thing before we'll unadjourn for a minute. I want to thank you for your service as Mayor Pro Tem. You've done a fantastic job. Couldn't ask for a better Mayor Pro Tem, and I want to thank you for your service.
Yay, Carol. Mayor, Carol always stepped up to the plate when there were a few of us at an event and you were not there. She went right up and represented the whole council and did great credit to us.
Thank you for that, Carol.
Yeah. You're welcome, Mayor.
All right, now we can adjourn.
Okay. So moved.